Who's your emergency contact? Who should we notify in case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I spent the last 2+ decades of my life. I'm currently in Atwater. I've been accepted to the SMOOTH program, and a couple people corrected me. It's not special management unit, it's special monitoring unit. You know, but it's same shit. It's just a 24/7 lockdown. All the program that they're supposed to put in place to help curb your thinking, you know, all these specialists, these criminologists, and so on and so forth. From my personal experience being in the program, I can tell you 100% with no hesitation that it's all bullshit. It's not a program. It's just a form of punishment. You're locked in your cell all fucking day long. But before I get to there, I'm still in the SMOOTH. I'm still in the SHU. The SHU is Special Housing Unit for those that are just tuning in and are not hip to the acronyms and stuff that we use in a penitentiary. But at this time, I'm waiting to be transferred to the SMOOTH program. Bryson and a couple other native bros, they caught the plane already. Bryson got redesignated. He went to USP Victorville. Chris, I think he went to Pollock. You know, everybody that I was there with all the homies in the SHU all end up leaving to go to another yard. The homie that was still there with me was the homie Eazy-E from Glendale and the homie Seth from Frisco. But at this time, Matavosin had signed a contract to turn Atwater into a program facility, meaning they designated one unit, which was 1A, for the program. And how you get into this program is if you've been beat up off the yard. If you've been beat up off the yard on 3 different occasions and they're not sure why you can't walk the yard, or they know why you can't walk the yard, you can volunteer to go to this program. I think it's either a 9-month or 18-month program. And when you finish with that program, they'll send you to a FCI. So in essence, this program is rewarding the victims. You know, these dudes that can't walk the USP, they don't have no other place to go. So they go to this program and do the months there, and then gets to pick a FCI they want to go to. You know, the prison system has changed a lot since I first came in. You know, before, when you weren't no good, when you was a rat, when you was a sex offender, child molester, rapist, or whatever, and you couldn't walk the yard, and motherfuckers punish you, bust your ass, bust your head, stab you, the administration leave you in the SHU and let your ass rot. But you know, through the course of time, these people file, you know, motions and lawsuits and stuff, how this is cruel and unusual punishment, that they can't walk the line. Everywhere they go, they get beat up or whatnot. So the federal system started implementing policy to help protect these people. Now, they put somebody on the line with you, they know he's a sex offender. So the COs, they put this dude on the line, on the yard, and then if nothing happens to him, you know, whatever group he's a part of, whatever, if nothing happens to him, then the administration, the staff, the COs start looking at you and your people like, damn, you guys just gonna let a fucking rapist or a child molester or whatever else just kick it with you guys? But then, when you bust their head, they want to case you. So it's a catch-22. And right now, what's going on in the system right now is that they're trying to force the USP to accept these rats and these child molesters and these sex offenders because they feel that, well, they can coexist in the state because in a lot of states, there's nowhere to go. You have limited prisons in each of your state. Like out here in Utah, in the state prison out here in Utah, it's filled with sex offenders and hot-ass dudes. And I can't speak on the policies or whatever's going on over there in the state because I've never been to the state. I've always been a federal prison. Started in '96 when I first got indicted. So, but anyway, so accepting the program, when Matavosin accepted the program, he shut down the SHU. They're like remodeling the SHU, putting TV screens up in the hallway or whatever for these guys to program or whatever. So they kicked us all out of the SHU. They emptied the SHU out and put all of us in 1B. Well, all of us except for 2 people. They had a DC guy named Kevin. You know, he lived in 3B, good dude. You know, everywhere he goes, he always busts a move and stuff. But he's slick. He's an intelligent individual. And some people end up telling on him on some of the things that he was doing out there. So they had locked him up and put him under investigation. Well, Matavosin felt like he was somebody of influence and didn't want him on the yard. But he didn't want him on the Atwater yard. He didn't want him on any compound. So he put him in for 80X. I think he was denied, the program in 80X denied him a couple times. But Matavosin insisted and kept putting it back in that he wanted this dude in 80X. Now, the other individual that was back there was the big old blood dude that I had told you in my previous videos, my earlier videos, where he killed another blood dude, Black, where he jumped on his chest, caved in his chest, and killed him in 5 Block. But that incident happened almost 3 years prior to me being in the SHU now. So this dude, you know, some people ask me, oh, I thought that you can only be in the SHU for 3 to 7 days. Nah, you could be in that SHU indefinitely. And the SHU, the Smooth program, 80X, it's all the same beast. You're locked down 24/7, 23-1. You might get wrecked 3 or 4 times a week. I say might because any type of excuse they come up with to not give you rec, they're not going to give it to you. So when they move us all over to 1B, because I'm already designated, I'm waiting to go to the Smooth. When they moved us all to 1B, they had a bunch of white boys that came in there, that came into the SHU. And one of the white boys' name that I got to know later on, his name is Star. That's his last name, Star. Good stand-up white dude. Anyway, when they implemented this program, they were shutting down the yard for a few hours a day. So all these busters, all these check-in, all these victims could get the yard. But not only that, they were allowing these people in 1A in the program to eat in the chow hall. Like they would feed the main line, the yard. They would feed everybody. Then after everybody was done, they let these dudes go into the chow hall and eat. Well, when they went into the chow hall, the workers in the chow hall, the inmates, the convicts that are on the yard, refused to feed these busters. So they locked the place down. And I guess Star and a couple other white dudes got together and they were trying to politic on how to deal with these busters being to come into the chow hall. Well, before the conversation, from what Star told me, before the conversation was even complete, was even finished, SIS came and locked a bunch of them up. You know, and then not only did they do that, they fired all the kitchen workers that had refused to serve these busters, and in their place, they put all these check-in the kitchen to serve the main line. So now you got these dudes that's been beat up off these compounds, that's been ran off all these compounds, been checked in other places, serving your food. I mean, just think about that. Imagine what they're doing to your food. They know that you're a straight up dude, you're a stand up dude, you're on man time, but they're in charge of your food. You know they're going to spit in that motherfucker. At the very least, you know they're going to do that. So everybody that came to the shoe while I'm in 1B waiting to, waiting to get shipped out was telling me how the yard was deteriorating. You know, when I first came into the system, the yard was wide open. Everybody, for the majority, for the most part, was on man time. And that included the COs. That included the staff. That included the administration. You know, they know that this is the penitentiary. They respect the politics that exist amongst the convicts in there. All they did was clean up the mess. When somebody got their head busted, they knew it was sanctioned because most hits are sanctioned. And if a hit wasn't sanctioned, then your yard would blow up with the two different groups or whatever. And the administration let them duke it out because they know there's no preventing it. Because if you stop it here on this yard, let's say I'm in Lompoc and something jumps off in Lompoc with two groups, and the administration stops it, lock them up, ship them out. Well, when they get to the next yard, it's liable to happen again. So their mentality back then was, let them get it out of their system. You know, when the Florida dudes and the Crip dudes got into it, they let them people stab each other up for about a week. You know, and Al Herrera was the warden at that time. You know, he, in one of the units that they just had an incident in, he came in there and said, hey, the door's opening up in the morning. You guys tired yet? You know, and eventually we're going to mediate the problem ourselves because we can't really continue to just slaughter each other over and over again, especially when you get to the nitty gritty of what transpired that caused all this shit. There's somebody in the wrong and there's somebody in the right, always. And at the end of the day, if you're a man, even though that's your homie, you're going to have to respect the rules and the politics and accept, hey, if your man was in the wrong, or if he's not, then, you know, it's whatever. But eventually, every beef gets mediated, gets resolved. You know, some people ask me about, you know, what are my alliances? You know, my first alliance when I'm in Atwater is with the Native Americans. But that being said, that means I'm going to back their play no matter who they want to aid and assist. But at the same time, you know, I have friends from other races, blacks, white, Mexicans, that I function with. Not on an arm distance, but really function with, that these people that I respect and care about, that I consider my friends, that I love, that I know and they know that if we're ever together and an incident pops off, we're going to have each other's back. And whatever happens after the smoke clears, it's what happened. But also at the same time, we understand that, okay, say I'm cool. I got a few good homies that are from the blood gang. Let's say for whatever reason, our car crashes. We understand we're still soldiers for our respective group. Like, I got a good homie, his name's Chucky Brim. And I fuck with, I think Lil Don D just sent me a message on the channel. through one of his friends. Like if our car were to crash, he knows, you know, we're friends. So when we go to battle, I just go hit somebody else and he go hit somebody else. I mean, it's hard to wrap your head around how can this happen, but that's just the way it is. But from the beginning, when you have rapport, when I have rapport with these individuals, when an incident comes out, 9 out of 10 times, we're able to sit down and mediate it and peacefully work it out. But if something's so drastic, something so extreme that we can't, then we're going to bump heads. But there's no love lost between me and these individuals because I'm going to respect them for doing their part for their car, for their homies. And in turn, they're going to respect me for doing my part for my homies and my car. You know, but, you know, sometimes there's conflict and sometimes it's what it is. But this is the environment that we exist in. This is the environment that they've thrown us in. So throughout the course of our day, we just have to figure out the best we can. Sometimes, for the most part, we make good decisions, and sometimes it's all bad. But that's just the environment that we live in. So, you know, I'm waiting for a smooth to go to the smooth. And like I said, they moved us over to 1B. But for the homie Kevin from DC, they left him in the shoe. They left him on the second tier in the cell way in the back. The shoe was empty. Like, they're fixing it up. They're remodeling it for the program or whatever. But Matavosin just had a hard-on for Kevin and wanted to make sure he ended up in ADX. And, you know, the reason he was being punished the way he was being punished because Kevin's a straight-up dude. You know, I believe that he's got all day. I don't know his case or anything, but from what I've heard through the course of my bid, he's got a life sentence and he's got a lot of co-defendants. And through the course of his time, he makes moves and he takes care of all his co-defendants. He's well respected. You know, all the other DCs that I've met, they speak highly of this dude, Kevin. And I met him a couple of times. He lived in 3B, but he wasn't on the yard very long before they snatched him up. You know, we all like to think that we could all hold our water. Everybody always thinks that, yeah, it doesn't matter if I'm facing a life sentence, doesn't matter if I'm facing 20 years or even a death penalty. I'm not going to flip. I'm not going to turn. I'm going to stay solid. And we all like to think that our friends are the same way. But the reality, man, there's very few of us that live to that code. There's very few of us that stick by that. You know, the dudes that I was telling on Kev, they were from New York. And they end up getting caught up with tobacco and some other stuff. They had a CO on the compound that was fucking with them. You know, she was a little short lady that worked in the chaplain. You know, she was kind of busted up, but you're in prison full of dudes. Here's a real female, right? But, you know, I forget her name, but they pushed up on her. SIS, the FBI pushed up on her. And from everything that I've heard while we was in the shoe, she stayed solid. While these dude boys that's supposed to be gangster running around in the USP was telling on her. So really, it doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter what kind of lifestyle you are, or if you're a gangster, or if you're a square. Buses come in all shapes and sizes. Here's these two dudes from New York telling on this lady that been hooking him up with tobacco and other shit. You know, and on her part, it's like I said, you know, when I went to the Smooth, ended up going to the Smooth, I got news, and they were just like, yeah, that lady stayed solid. She never said nothing. But these motherfucking dudes over here was giving up the game. And I think the end result was Kevin ended up getting sent to ADX. And the blood dude that had killed the homie Black, you know, another blood dude, he ended up getting 7 years and went to ADX. But to him, it was like a freebie because he already had a life sentence. So what's 7 more years? You know? That's just to show you that there's not much value on our lives in the system. When you come in there, once you're behind that wall, for some reason, they no longer perceive you as an equal, as human, that has family, that has a life. They just see you as a number and a paycheck. Because these administrations in place is supposed to help you get home, but they feel like if they ever let you get out a day early, it's like taking food from their mouths, which I don't understand. But once you're behind that wall, homie, your reality is distorted. Especially if you got decades to do or forever to do. It's almost like you're in a twilight zone. You know, just taking you guys back through my experience. You know, sometimes I wake up and I wonder if this shit will ever end. I know I got a date, but trying to project myself 20 years down the road, it's impossible. And it's the same thing every day. Same people around you, same routine. You know, at one point in my time, at one point in time, I wasn't sure if the life I had out here when I was young, when I first came to America, when I was in Cambodia, when I was in the Philippines, when I was riding my bike, you know, the first girl I had a crush on, all that. I had questioned if all these things ever existed or if my life and my reality has always been in this box. You know, I share stories with you guys of times I had fun, that I made the most of it. And I wasn't getting my ass beat every day by the police or anything like that. But there's no denying that when you're in there, it's a slow death. Because you're sitting in a box and you're watching the world go by through photographs and on a TV screen. You know, when I went in, my youngest brother was 9 years old. He's 32 with 2 kids, married. But when I have dreams about him, when I do dream about my family, I still see him as that 9-year-old kid. They never grew up in my mind. Because I've been pickled. You know, I've been stuck in this environment that nothing changes. It's a sad existence. You know, I'm 46 years old now, and I'm trying to catch up to the world. I'm trying to rebuild my life. And I'm telling you right now, man, it's not easy trying to start your life over at 46. You know, I know I got a little sidetracked, but I'm just out here freestyling, man. And You know, my thing is, part of these programs that I'm trying to do, part of the videos is, of course, entertain you, but to give you an insight in the reality that I've lived for the last 20 plus years. And the stories that I share with you, I'm not going back researching these cases or getting police reports or statements or anything like that. These stories are my interaction with these individuals that I've come across, with things that I've experienced personally, and with things that I've seen. But part of this program, as we evolve, because I'm going to the Smooth now, then after that is Florence. When I finish up USP Florence, I want to introduce you to some of these individuals that I've met that, regardless of how you feel about the decisions they made in life, these are men that I feel are worthy of my respect because the way they live their life. And when I say the way they live their life is how they bought into the code, how they live by the code, how they uphold the code. And through all the adversity, they stuck to the code. And like I said, regardless of how you feel about the choices they made or the things they've done, somebody that honors the word loyalty, respects the word loyalty and honor, you have to commend them and you have to respect them because these are individuals that are worthy of that. Till next time, welcome to the USP.